Well, welcome everyone back to Kitchen Table TCG, another market update video for you. Today we're talking about Crucible VOR. If you want access to all the data in this video and all my videos that I do every week, head on over to patreon.com/KitchenTableTCG. Get yourself some access to this collection tracker, track the value of your collection. It does update every time I do a video. I wanted to announce a Road to Nationals event happening here in West Virginia, in Hurricane, West Virginia. It's called Hurricane, that's how they pronounce it. It's Hurricane, West Virginia, that's how you spell it. We are going to rent out a bigger facility so that we can host people from the region. So if you're interested in that, it's going to be August 21st. It'll start at 10 a.m. It's going to be, 7 rounds of Classic Constructed, an awesome Road to Nationals event. This is going to be number 2 on a tour that's going to go from South Carolina at Compete Sports all the way up through West Virginia and all the way up to Critical Games and Comics in East Liverpool, Ohio. So Don and George were working together to kind of promote a kind of regional thing for those of you players who are around here. And then I also love to shout out Mitch over at Midtown Merchant. Use my code BeKind to save $5 off your order, $10, $50 or more. And if you're a patron, you get access to 10% off. So super excited about the Road to Nationals. I do think it's going to affect the market. Let's start talking about Crucible VOR. We'll start with first edition because Unlimited's not out yet, but it'll be out soon. All right, so as we talk about box prices, okay, we are sitting about $8.75, and this is interesting. If you pull up the sold listings, you're starting to see a lot more pickup, and the trend line, the last 2 weeks now has been pretty low. So this seems like a bottom to me. I know I've said that before, but it seems like a bottom to me. We had some significant losses, week to week here at 7, 8, 13, 10%. But it seems like we might be approaching this kind of flat line. 2 weeks is not a trend, but it kind of can hint to things. So we'll see what happens next week. But some good sales here. Some cases really moving too. The case premium is not being seen right now. But it is interesting that people are, it seems like a lot of eyes are on the sealed product for Crucible. Looking at the Fable, there's really not much change this week from last week. Really no on the market and really none being offered and none being purchased. So I think the lowest price right now is like $5 or $6 grand. I can't remember, but it's not this kind of 3,600 that we've been at the last couple of weeks. So it seems like those who do have them do not want to sell them for less. And if you remember, we've talked a lot about this kind of spike, and that's about the price that it started at the spike, about 4,100. We've talked a lot about this spike being, in my opinion at least, the bottom for most of the cards on the market right now. And it appears that we have hit around that bottom right there. And now we're kind of flatlining. Looking at the legendaries, Cheyenne has been pretty resilient. Maybe not. Maybe I'm lying. I don't know. It's the same thing. Sorry. She started at like the $3 grand. And here we go. She's at like $3 grand, around 3,400. So another sold listing this week of Cheyenne at 3,300. The last couple ones we had were 2 weeks ago at $4 grand. I think there was one at TCG Player last week, maybe 2 for around $4 grand. But I don't know, Cheyenne holding true at like the 3,400. This was an auction too. Flesh and Blood historically auctions end less than, kind of where we kind of estimate the value at. So we'll put her at 33.6. And then the Spring Tunic, really no change this week. Another one sold at 300. The Twinning Blade's a little bit of an interesting one. I had some feedback based on last week, the listing of was it near mint, was it not? It'll be interesting to see what happens with this. I personally do not think that the extended art will be in Unlimited Crucible VOR based on the Unlimited Monarch stuff. So I do think that this card has some room to grow if it's not seen in that. So we're getting down 1,500 kind of previous to the big spike. We were at around 1,200, so we're getting down, I think, close to the bottom here. I'm just not sure where we're gonna lose the value. Cheyenne has, I guess I misspoke there. Cheyenne has kind of dropped down to what it was kind of in that drum. I guess it could lose a little bit more. But the other ones are kind of there. I mean, Twinning Blade, I don't know, they're kind of there. Cheyenne and Twinning Blade are so rare that they might not appear at the bottom. So, all in all, we still have an 8% loss. We are still kind of gradually going down. So, we'll see where that goes in the next couple weeks. As we go over to the cold foils, a lot of downward pressure on the cold foils right now. The cold foil rares were down 11% this week, but a lot of them sold, which this tells me that people are still interested in the cards. They're just more sellers who are interested in getting money out of the cards. And so I love to see the interest of the cards. Kind of if things were tanking, you would see no interest in the cards. And so that's a good sign. So a lot of them are selling at these prices, which is really good. Mandible Claw at 130, Sledge of Van Valheim at 175, Harmonized Kadachi at 125. Edge of Autumn actually went up this week to 125. Centauri Saber at 140. Let's see, anything else? Redliner down to 140. Reaping Blade at 108. Talishar the Lost Blade is actually up to 150. So we're down 11% there. Now the cold foil Majestics are down much worse. It's just interesting. It's just a lot of them being put up on auction and people just kind of putting a bottom price and then like one or two bids and not really much action on the auction. So kind of interesting to see that happening. Skullhorn sold for 450, which is actually up, but Crater Fist sold for 350, which is way down. Breeze Rider Boots for 300, which is down. Visiortronic for 516, which is down a little bit. The big one, Bloodsheath Skeleton, 3 of them this week. I don't know if this is the same person, but 3 cold foil Bloodsheaths sold this week for 561, 400, and 500 respectively. So very interesting to see that. This is actually looks like it's the same bidding. So if you call one of those and then the other, it's around 500. Very, very interesting. I don't know. Like, I don't know what's going on with this thing. This ends like 2 days, 3 days before an auction. So I hope there's no shenanigans there. Who knows? At the end of the day, this was an auction that ended at 561. So, 561, 500 seems what it is. Metacarpus Node at 400, and then Gambler's Gloves. And this was actually one, I'll pull it up. This is actually one that I was watching. And I put into a chat that I was in and was like, this seems like a pretty dang good deal to me. And somebody actually in that chat ended up picking it up. But Gambler's Gloves for 425. It actually sold for 410. I think the max bid was 425 or something. But yeah, so for like 420, 425, only 3 bids. I mean, that's way, way, way interesting. This is the same thing we're seeing right here is like a sale, like 3 sales. I don't know, guys. 3 same picture, same seller. It just seems interesting to me. Meanwhile, this most recent one sold for 416. But like if you pop open these, they're all from the same seller. I mean, the picture's the same. It's weird. That's weird. That's a little weird thing that's happening, and I don't really know what to do with it. But 3 different listings. So, this one I actually was watching and I was not participating in, but I know the person who was participating in it. And so this was an actual listing, an actual sold thing that happened. So, just, trying to be transparent with you. All in all, that puts the Majestic cold foils down 17%. Lots of downward pressure. Let's take a look at this chart and see where we're backing up. Kind of at the beginning of the big spike. You can see we were close to this. We're pretty close to this. Where were we? 243, and now we're at 260. So that's pretty dang close. We're getting. I think we're getting close. I think we're getting close to the bottom, and then crypto's starting to turn a little bit right now. So I think we're gonna be. Moving in the right direction in the next couple weeks. It's a little bit more fun to do these videos when we're moving in the right direction. But the Majestic Rainbow Foils, here we go. So we're only down 5% here to an average of 50. No huge hitters dropping too much. Like 20 Blade dropping like $20. Spoils of War staying about the same. No huge hitters moving very much. So seems pretty good. The bottom we have there at 50. The bottom we have there is around the $38, $45 range. So we're kind of getting close to that range too. The regular Majestics, these are the non-foils. We're sitting at down 6%. There are a few that are like these equipments are starting to erode a little bit. Courage of Bladehold still holding true at a $200 card. This is where I start to get I start to feel like things are kind of interesting in the market. When a Courage of Bladehold non-foil is $200, and then the cold foil is still, not selling at like the $900 range, and so like the most recent sold is $775. It just brings about a little bit of an interesting thing. That's only a 4x compared to like the non-foil to the cold foil. That seems interesting to me, in my honest opinion. Visiertronic at 55, Perch Grapplers at 37, Bloodsheath at 73. So you can see some of these kind of equipment slots are starting to trail off. I'm guessing that's people selling with like the idea that they'll pick up the card later in Unlimited. So your average is at 37.49. These have not dropped as much. I think this is really interesting. This is probably based on players, the current player meta that we're seeing. But these non-foil Majestics, kind of prior to our spike here, we're sitting at $24 on average, and they're holding true right now at 37, and it's been relatively consistent. And I think that's due to the player base growing and this being the cheapest version of the card. So looking at the rare rainbow foils, keep in mind, I just use TCG low on these. I do not actually look up all these cards. The other ones I do look up. On average, you're sitting at $12.81 for those. The regular rares, same thing. Just use TCG low on the rares. We're actually up 7%. So you can see, again, like the market's starting to trail down. I think the losses are starting to trail off here. We're actually up 1% for the rainbow foil commons. So things like Cracked Bauble holding true, Copper holding actually going up. Rune Chant is starting to kind of balance out. So all right, let's get to this EV calculation. In every box, you can expect to get one cold foil, and I've gone ahead and broken down this average to calculate the cold foil rares more than the cold foil Majestics. You have 6 Majestics, you have 2 foil Majestics, 41 rares, 5 foil rares, and then 1 in every 10 boxes will have a legendary, and 1 in every 40 boxes will have a fabled. So if you open 40 boxes, on average, your boxes should net you about $857.39. If you don't hit a legendary or a fable, you'd be sitting at $610.68. If you hit a rare cold foil, you'd be sitting at $578.66 on average. But if you hit a Majestic cold foil, you'd be sitting at $883.60 on average. I always think it's really interesting to look at this set and understand that most of the money in the set is not, like in the EV, is not found in the Legendary and Fable. It's actually found in these other cards, which is really interesting. And I actually like the way that that's set up. So, all right, let's take a look at where that chart stands and kind of where we are based on the rest of it. We're actually down 5% to 858. And if you back that out, and if we look at where we were kind of prior to the spike, we still have some room to fall. Let's see, 636. Oh, that was really early. Let's use that number, 671 on 3.6. Yeah, we still have some room to fall, but I love how it was like a steep rise and now it's just kind of a gradual fall. That tells me the market's not falling out of things. It's just simply, the buyers have slowed down. The sellers, I'm not sure I'm not sure that the sellers have like increased. I think more the buyers have decreased, which is probably relatively healthy. So, all right, let's look at the top 10 cards to gain value. Edge of Autumn cold foil going from 80 to 125 for a change of 56%. Springboard Somersault going from 29 to 39, a change of 34%. Fine Center going from 45 to 60 for a change of 33%. The non-foil gainers, Dread Triptych going up 50%. Plasma Purifier going up 29%, and Magnetic Shockwave going up 28%. Looking at the cards that lost the most value this week, Bloodsheath Skeleton, that cold foil, really losing a lot of value, down 47%. Interesting stuff. That was a weird one in my opinion. Reaping Blade from 200 to 108, losing 46%, and Harmonized Kodachi going from 127 to 75, going from 200 to 125, losing 36%. Non-foil losers, Coke's a Commotion, down 35%, Snag, down 28%, and Gorganian Tome, down 25%. So that's all I got for you today on the Crucible of War side. Again, thank you so much for watching the videos and interacting with me in the comment sections. I really appreciate that. If you would like to support the channel and you want access to all this data, go on and over to patreon.com/KitchenTableTCG. I'd love to have you. We have an awesome Discord server. We run events on Sundays and on Thursdays. We're doing a Classic Constructed League. It's a blast. It's a good time to hang out. You get access to all this data. You get access to box and case breaks. It's a great time. $5 a month. Hope you enjoy it. And thank you so much. If you don't want to do the Patreon, that's fine. Just thank you so much for watching the videos and being here. Hope you guys have a great day. And remember to be kind to the people around you.